Also have the regular meeting minutes from that same day, and then meetings from an emergency called session that was held on the 29th of September 2014. Are there any corrections or additions that need to be noted to these? Hearing none, I'll ask, is there a motion regarding this matter?
I'll move we go ahead and approve all three sets.
Okay, a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll ask our clerk to call the roll, please.
Mrs. Jerry? Aye. Mr. Howard?
Aye.
Mr. Humphries?
Aye.
Mrs. Lowe?
Aye.
And Mayor Morgan?
Aye. Thank you very much. Okay, the first item on our agenda tonight is under petitions, public hearings, and first reading of ordinances. We have for our consideration a public hearing pursuant to the requirements under the Code of Virginia 1950 as amended, Section 15.2-5104, for the purpose of approving a special use permit pursuant to zoning ordinance Article 11, B2, General Business District, Section 1123, special uses to operate a kennel, animal boarding, and grooming business. And I'm not going to repeat that. And Ms. Eisenhower, if you'll enlighten us on this, please.
Oh, well, I'll probably repeat it because this is about the fourth time we've heard about it within the town's boards and council. It began in May when the petitioner, Ms. Susan Fortner, requested an amendment to the ordinance to add kennels, animal breeding, grooming, not breeding, boarding, excuse me, there's a difference, for a special use under that particular ordinance. And the following month, in June, you heard it for the first time with council as a proposed amendment, which was recommended by Planning Commission. It was back for the second reading in July, where it was passed and made effective, adopted on July 1st. In August, then Planning Commission was asked by petitioner to grant this particular special use permit, and that was recommended by the commission to the council with the following motion. Animals be kept indoors for recreation and boarding, and only be allowed outdoors to discharge waste. This is your recommendation tonight, and the legal department would recommend that the special use permit be granted according to Planning Commission specific recommendation. Yes, he has ample space. Petitioner isn't here tonight to answer questions. Maybe Mr. Humphries could address some of the specifics.
Well, I think we've talked about this long
Yes.
and hard, and probably I think everybody's fairly familiar with this. And this is one, where that we are just the petitioner asked for a special use permit under what's now is permitted by the Planning Commission as adopting the ordinance, and just asking to be able to have the animals in a grooming care facility and be able to board them overnight. So, and that's just basically the simple facts on it.
And the petitioners worked very hard and been very patient during this process.
And they've been very diligent. Yes.
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 Very good. I'm pleased to hear that. Thank you. All right, again, we have a special use permit to review this, a public hearing to review this special use permit request. At the present time, I will declare the public hearing regarding this matter to be open. And if there is anyone present tonight who wishes to address the council regarding this matter, they're welcome to come forward at the present time. Again, anyone who wishes to address the council? Seeing none, I will declare the public hearing to be closed. And council, again, we have this special use permit request regarding the kennel. Is there someone who wishes to make a motion regarding this matter?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I'll make the motion that we grant this request for special use.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second to operate or to permit this special use. Any further discussion or questions? Hearing none, I'll ask our clerk to call the roll. Our next item is also involves a public hearing. It's pursuant to requirements under the Code of Virginia 1950 as amended, Section 15.2-951, for the purpose of receiving comments from the public regarding a proposed authorization for the town manager to enter into a contract for the purchase of a 2014 Pierce PUC pumper truck for the Abingdon Fire Department through Republic First National Corporation. I believe Ms. Eisenhower and Mr. John McCormick, our fire chief, are here to give us the background on this, please.
And my part here is to introduce the fire chief. I give you John McCormick. We've worked hard on this one, too.
All right.
Okay. Mr. Mayor, members of council, the proposed funding for the fire truck is for to be financed through the finance company, the total being $732,161. There will be a down payment of $115,000, which will come out of the $150,000 that the county has already given to the town to purchase the truck. There's a prepaid discount, which the finance company will pay off the truck, and we will receive a prepaid discount of $23,334 for that prepayment. The amount to be financed then is $558,827. And this agreement is for a 10-year term with one payment of $150,000 due the 15th day of July 2015. That $150,000 will come from the second payment from the county, their second $150,000. And then the additional 9 payments of $56,623.23 will be what the town will need to pay in that nine-month period.
Okay.
Or 9-year period, I'm sorry, 9-year period.
So, and again, this is a pumper type truck. And I know
Yes, it is a dual type truck. It is a pumper engine, Class A through NFPA standards. It's also an equipment truck for rescue.
Okay.
And we have come to an agreement, negotiated a contract that we can live with, that we're asking, I guess the assistant town manager will ask for this portion, but for our town manager to be able to execute, and the county will accept that. Or it's
Okay.
on their agenda for the 14th.
All right, very good. Okay, does anyone have, the council have any questions of these folks at the present time? Okay.
They'll be replacing a truck, the 1995 model truck,
Okay,
so it's 20 years old, basically.
very good. Well, we've gotten good use out of it. It's just amazing to me how expensive some of these things are. And I would remind everybody too, before I open the hearing, that the service area that our fire department covers is not by any means, as noted with this proposed agreement and assistance from Washington County, our service area is by no means limited to the boundaries of the town of Abingdon. We service citizens of Washington County who live in the boundaries of town of Abingdon, and then we also serve citizens of Washington County who live outside of the boundaries of Washington County. That it's covered under the 201 service agreement, if I recall. That also covers sewer service. But Chief, could you briefly describe service area of where we handle calls out not only in town but also in Washington County?
Outside the corporation limits, we go as far as exit 13 on Interstate 81 to exit 22, to Greendale to the north, and to Watauga Road to the south.
Okay. And how about to the east?
To the east. That was exit 13.
Okay.
Providence Road,
14.
611.
East would be
13.
13.
No.
No, it's
Oh, east is this way. I'm sorry. Exit 22. I don't have my GPS with me.
Your other east.
All right, very good.
Yes, exit
Well, that's
22.
9 miles of interstate, and we're out there a lot.
Okay, very good. And if I recall the number of calls that our squad handles outside of the town of boundaries, is that how? What's
Greater than half. It's about 55% a year that we run outside the corporation limits.
Okay, well, very good.
Yes.
All right, does anybody have any further questions
I
about
was
this?
just going to ask you, you said the county had, out of the $732,000,
that the vehicle cost, the county was giving $150,000. Is that all they're giving, or are they giving any additional payments?
It'll be a total of $300,000. They already given us $150,000. After the agreement's signed, we will be requesting the other $150,000.
And the interest that they would retain in the value of the vehicle decreases on I believe it's a yearly amount. The percentage that they would recoup in the event that there was an insurance claim would be a decreasing amount.
Okay. All right. Again, any further questions of these folks? All right, thank you. Again, we have at this time a public hearing pursuant to the proposed purchase of the 2014 Pierce pumper truck for the Abingdon Fire Department through Republic First National Corporation. At the present time, I will declare the public hearing to be open. If there is anyone who wishes to address the council regarding this matter, they're welcome to come forward at the present time. I do not see anyone who wishes to address the council regarding this matter. I will therefore declare the public hearing to be closed. And council, again, we've had a request to authorize our town manager to enter into a contract for the purchase of this piece of equipment under the terms described through Republic First National Corporation. What is your pleasure regarding this matter?
Mr. Mayor, would you like two motions, or do you want one motion?
I would be receptive to either one, as long as if it's one that is comprehensive and covers both aspects of the authorization.
I move that we authorize the town manager to enter into an agreement with Republic First National for the purchase of the pump fire truck.
2014 Pierce.
Yes, Pierce fire truck.
Okay. Through Republic First
I said
National
that.
Corporation.
I said
Excuse
that.
me, I'm sorry, I'm a little bit off. And
She wants two motions.
okay, that'll be fine. We have, again, a motion to authorize our town manager to enter into a contract for the purchase of the pumper truck. Is there any, and we have a second. Is there any further discussion or questions regarding this matter? Hearing none, I'll ask Ms. Rosenbaum to call the roll, please.
Mrs. Jerring.
Aye.
Mr. Howard.
Aye.
Mr. Humphries.
Aye.
Mrs. Lowe.
Aye.
And Mayor Morgan.
Aye, thank you. All right, and it does appear that it's necessary to make another motion. Would you care to handle that as well? Or?
I move town manager to execute the agreement between the town of Abingdon and Washington County.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to authorize our town manager to enter into an agreement with Washington County, Virginia for the purchase of this vehicle and related financial processes with that. Any further discussion or questions? All right, and we have, again, the motion and the second. If you'll call the roll, please.
Mrs. Jerring. Aye. Mr. Howard.
Aye.
Mr. Humphries.
Aye.
Mrs. Lowe.
Aye.
And Mayor Morgan.
Aye, thank you. Our next item is on an action, proposed action on the first reading, consideration of a petition for the right-of-way vacation request for the east-west unopened right-of-way. It's approximately 250 feet long, 15 feet wide. It exists between Campbell Street and Fulkerson Street. It's bound by parcels number 017-11-33 and 017-11-35 on the north, and parcels 017-1-29 and 017-1-29A to the south. And Mr. Dew, I believe you're here to enlighten us on this matter. I think that's also been a process that we've been at for a little while here.
It has been, Mayor Morgan, members of council. This is the last step in the right-of-way vacation process, and I think all of you remember we have been through the steps required by state code, including initial review of the petition to vacate the right-of-way. Then we had a public hearing, and at that council meeting, there was a board of viewers, a three-member board of viewers established to take a look at the right-of-way vacation request in the interest of the town and render an opinion, which was heard at the council meeting following that one. And you also heard staff recommendations as far as the vacation is concerned, and we are now at the stage of first reading of the ordinance to officially vacate the right-of-way.
Okay. All right, very good, sir. And we've had our public hearings, and at this point, if I'm understanding things correctly, would be to consider a motion to, on the first reading, to authorize the abandonment of that right-of-way.
That's correct,
Correct.
and you'll have a first reading at this meeting, and then
Right.
you'll have a second reading at the November meeting.
Right.
And then it will become effective 30 days from the date of the second reading.
Okay.
So I think we're looking at probably December, if I'm thinking, yeah,
All
for
right.
it to become effective.
Very good. Okay, that being said, does anyone have any questions of Mr. Dew about this matter?
I want to make one more note, too. The plat has been finalized that is required to go along with this, and that has been done, so that's good.
Okay. All right, so again, we've moved forward on this process. I'll entertain a motion regarding this matter. Does someone care to make a motion that the right-of-way be abandoned and that we act on the first reading?
I'll make that formal motion, that we go ahead and do the petition for the right-of-way vacation on first reading.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. We have a motion and a second to accept the proposal to abandon the right-of-way that has been previously described. Is there any further discussion or comment?
Only to just, you probably said this, and I was writing another motion, but we did retain right-of-way for utilities.
Yes, it's written in there in the ordinance to retain for utility easements if needed.
Thank you.
All right. Very good, sir. Okay. Again, we have the motion and the second. If the clerk will call the roll, please.
Mrs. Juring?
Aye.
Mr. Howard?
Aye.
Mr. Humphries?
Aye.
Mrs. Lowe?
Aye.
Mayor Morgan?
Aye. Okay, thank you very much. And I'll bet you we'll see you back here next month, too.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
Before we move on, can we maybe get Kevin Worley to turn the air on just a little bit? I'm melting down up here.
I bet we could ask him to do that. If I recall, you were Eliza Doolittle's dad?
Yes.
Enjoyed seeing you very much in that play. I have to say that it was one of the best things I've ever seen at Barter, and I've seen a lot at Barter over the years. They've done a great job with my fair lady, so please go see it. All righty. Okay, he was a real show stealer. So, okay, thank you very much. We have no second readings of ordinances or resolutions tonight. No bids to consider, and that brings us to reports from the town manager. I'm very pleased tonight. We have Miss Denny Peterson, who is the manager of the Learning Landscapes program for Appalachian Sustainable Development. I think she has several young people with us tonight, and they want to perhaps give us a presentation about one of the newest additions to Abingdon's Urban Trail Network. Thank you all for coming tonight.
Mayor Morgan, members of the council, thank you so much for allowing us to speak to you tonight. I've been coming to you for years to stand in front of you to talk about this trail. It's been a long time, about 5 years now. It's been 8 since I began thinking about the trail. And again, I bring students with me. I have a student from Emory and Henry College, and I have 2 students from Abingdon High School, and I'm going to allow them to make the presentation this evening.
Okay, well, I guess I'll start off. I'm Devin Crabtree. I'm a senior at Emory and Henry. I'm a religion major. I'm an intern with Appalachian Sustainable Development right now. I started as an AmeriCorps Vista this summer, and I've been really had the pleasure to work on this trail. It's been a lot of fun and a big journey. So the Penicello Trail, if you don't know, it's located behind Abingdon High School, connects Grace Healthcare and the Coombs Center, about 3,300 feet, and it's taken about 5 years of hard labor from students and just different volunteers to get this trail together, and now we're finally here, and it's a really exciting time. And so what we're going to do is we're going to let these guys talk about the trail a little bit, and then definitely mention and thank you guys for the support and the contributions that you have made to the trail.
Well, my name is Lauren. I'm a junior at Abingdon High School. And doing the wetlands first.
Mm-hmm.
There's a wetlands on top of the hill located next to the trail. That's it.
It's located in the middle.
Yeah, we didn't really do anything to it. Except plant plants, I think. Yeah, we planted plants in it.
Okay.
Pollinator strip.
All right. The pollinator strip spans 100 feet along the Panicella and hosts both perennials and annual flowers that attract bees, butterflies, and hummingbirds that spread the pollen to other plants. Project Bluebird is something we have done where we made bluebird boxes, put them on sticks, and protect them from snakes and raccoons and stuff, and squirrels to get inside of them. They house bluebirds, chickadees, and house swallows, which students will go out there and monitor them. Monitor each of the boxes and report them to the Virginia Bluebird Society.
Did you have any bluebirds this year? All right.
Which was that?
I can do it if you don't want to.
I don't know anything about it.
Okay, and then at the end of our trail, right next to where the bridge is or the sidewalk and Grace Healthcare, we have access to Town Creek. And we had volunteers from Emory and Henry's Greek Life come out there and make us a safe access for students to get to. And that allows us to participate in Virginia Save Our Streams and teach about water conservation and the importance of water conservation, making sure we don't get our waters polluted. And I just want to add that all of these different things that are on the trail, they're really special opportunities for students to participate in not only local conservation efforts, but broader national and state. It allows students to actually send in data to conservation organizations, so and allows them to learn in a fun environment. So the trail is something that's really important.
And I'm Maria Clark, and I'm a junior at Abingdon High School. And we just all want to say thank you for allowing us and giving us the money to connect the trail to the road and to the sidewalk. It would have been a lot harder. We probably couldn't have done it without you all supporting us. And just come to the grand opening. That's next Friday at 1 p.m. Just excited to see this thing happen. A lot of hard work and a lot of volunteers have helped.
Next one.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Question.
Yes.
What classes does this interface with at Abingdon High School? And will all the students have an opportunity to do these activities?
We hope so. Right now, most of the students come from a club called AT Square, the Appalachian Teen Trekkers. It was led originally by Stephen On, who has now moved on to Holston High School. But these students are still active in the club. And so they come out, sometimes it's every week, sometimes it's every other week, and they participate. I also have a class of special needs students who participate on the trail. We've had activity from E.B. Stanley Middle School students, and we also have biology students and ecology students that come out. Actually, the ecology students at Abingdon High School were the first ones to write grants to the Kiwanis Club. So they've had a part in it from the very beginning.
Nice.
And
thank you.
If I can just go off that, I think one of our broader ideas for this trail is not to only focus on students, but we have informational signs and different, just educational information throughout the trail. And so I think it's more, while it is for students as well, it's a great opportunity to get the public turned back on to nature conservation and nature education.
Very good. Well, does anyone else have any questions? We want to thank you very much for your support and your efforts. We were glad to provide you with some financial assistance to make this happen, but we're equally appreciative of all the labor and time and hard work that everybody put into that. That trail will be a permanent asset for the town. Part of the process that we have for, first of all, getting out, enabling people to have a place to get out and exercise and walk, We want to, when possible, to encourage opportunities for people to walk to school. And likewise, it opens up an area where, a natural area in the town, and it's a great addition. We thank you very much. It's been a wonderful project. We're very appreciative of the work that y'all have done, that Appalachian Sustainable Development has done, and thank you very much. I do have, for each of you, one of the highly coveted Town of Abingdon lapel pins. Not everyone has one, but I have one for y'all. And thank you very much. And, okay. And we'll look forward, as many of us as possible, to coming out this next Friday for the dedication of the trail and getting a chance to walk around and have a look at it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. We'll look back forward to seeing y'all back here again, too.
You know, I do want to tell you something. You have actually helped us achieve one of our goals, which is making walking paths and trails throughout the town of Abingdon possible. So thank you so much for all you have done to help us achieve our goals.
Very
Thank
good.
you guys so much.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, and come back and see us. All righty. Our next item is consideration of a funding request for the Washington County Business Plan Competition. Ms. Susan Howard, who is Executive Director of the Abingdon Main Street Project, is here with us tonight. I think she's coming off here just right off a very successful Wolf project, too, if I recall correctly.
Yes, we have, we raised over $10,000 as net profit from our wolf auction, so we're real excited about that. Am I allowed to bring up something that's not on the agenda, or do I need to wait till it matters not on the agenda?
Oh.
No. Just, right.
I bet you we could probably indulge you for a minute or two.
Well, I just wanted to mention that Gizmo Boardwine had asked me to contact Greg about the possibility of getting some benches for the site where the mural is located, as well as some lighting for the mural at night. And Kevin Mallory has just informed me that they have already installed 2 benches there and some lighting.
Worley.
Worley, what did I say?
Mallory.
I did, why did I do that? Kevin Worley, I'm sorry. That's Kevin Worley. I apologize, Kevin. I do know who you are. Worley.
Chief Phillips is back there, too.
I've been awake since 5:30, which is not at all normal for me. So, anyway, the lighting is, we're going to have to see how it works out. We might need to make a change in it, but I just wanted to express my appreciation to him for doing that. Gizmo will be very excited when he comes in the morning. So, but I am a member of the Washington County Business Plan competition team again, and as I stated in the letter that I wrote to everybody, we really want to express our appreciation for the donation that you made last year. We are continuing with the project for 2015. And of course the letter explains that we have made some changes. There will be 2 $5,000 awards for the best business plan in 2 categories. One for a new business, to an entrepreneur for a new business, and the other to an existing business that can be used for expansion. And so what we want to do is to request again another donation of $5,000 to the team for this project. Are there any questions?
I'll just add to what Susan's talking about. This is the same project that they spoke with us at VML meeting that Ken Heath led the business boot camp discussion, roundtable discussion, and part of the rules of the competition are that they create 1.5 jobs within the year of their expansion. This has been very successful for Capo's Music, which is our existing business that won last year. And the people that attended this meeting were, or these 6-week classes, were business people within Abingdon and Washington County who gained knowledge from the classes, even though some of them did not compete. So it's been received with a lot of zest. And this year, classes leading up to that are to help them, get some knowledge even before they enter the competition.
And if I might comment, Mr. Mayor, I was one of the people who attended the first couple of classes for the business competition, and it was excellent information. I was not able to complete it because my dad was having surgery, and I had to be out of town, but it was one of the neatest things. The information was unbelievable, and the participation and the quality of the presenters was just excellent. So it was a very, very, I think, a very interesting thing to get people together, and the reach that it had throughout the county, and the town and the county was excellent. It was wonderful.
It's a great opportunity for anybody who's even just thinking about, opening a business, because you really get the opportunity to be educated about everything that's involved. It's not, for those of us who've owned businesses, it's more than just, I have a great idea,
So-
we find a place to.
So in other words, to participate in the competition, you also had to, attending the classes and so forth was really
That's
required.
right. It's a requirement that you attend every class. You can't miss a class. You can't be late.
Right. You cannot be more than 15 minutes late or you're disqualified.
You have to take it seriously. So
Okay, well, I'm pleased to hear that. And so again, we did this last year, and
We did, and I'd say that, probably we should get a letter, maybe out to Susan when we do the budget this coming year.
Yeah.
But we didn't know at the time if we were going to continue the project, and that's the reason that we didn't, we didn't ask for it in the budget cycle this past year.
And there were $10,000 awarded last year. I don't know if you knew who the second and third place winners were. Capo's won first place with $5,000 to expand their education program. The second winner of $3,000 was Farm Food. And I think some of you may know Kyle, who is at the farmer's market on a regular basis. And then Dreamland Alpacas in Meadowview won the third place of $2,000.
They're at the farmer's market too.
yeah,
They are.
yeah.
And they all got free chamber memberships for a year.
Right.
Well,
So it's a really good opportunity.
Okay, well, again, we have this request. I would presume that if we funded it, the funds would need to come from our council reserves, and I believe we're in good shape there at the moment.
What total funding is she asking?
$5,000. Okay. All right, council, what's your pleasure regarding this matter?
I'm going to fund them the $5,000 for the Washington County Business Plan Competition.
Okay, okay. All right, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to provide $5,000 in support for the Washington County Business Plan Competition. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll ask our clerk to call the roll, please.
Mrs. Deering.
Aye.
Mr. Howard.
Aye.
Mr. Humphries.
Aye.
Mrs. Lowe.
Aye.
Mayor Morgan.
Aye. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
We look forward to seeing who the new winners are this year.
That's great.
I will tell you that the Washington County IDA also gave $5,000.
Yeah.
Okay, very
Thanks
good.
very much.
All right, our next item is, for our consideration tonight, is in regard to the Bank of America refund payment agreement relative to bank franchise taxes paid to the town of Abingdon. Ms. Rosenbaum, would you care to enlighten us on this, please?
I will. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. In your packets, you will find a quite lengthy document titled the Bank of America Refund Payment Agreement. The Bank of America files pays franchise taxes to the town. They amended their 2010, 2011, and 2012 tax returns. And in so doing that, an audit revealed that they had made overpayments to, I think, in excess of 30 localities in the Commonwealth of Virginia on bank franchise taxes. This is a hit, obviously, in money. In 2010, it was deemed that they overpaid the town of Abingdon by $7,446. In 2011, $9,771. In 2012, $16,038. It was an overpayment of a total amount of $33,255. In knowing that localities would not have had this in their budget, they've come up with 3 different options that you can do to absorb this hit, because it is something that we definitely do owe.
Let's back up for, take a slight digression on this and have a little bit further explanation. But this bank franchise tax and so forth, now that is basically anybody who does business as a bank within your community.
Right.
And I presume this is based on the dollar volume that the bank does, or their assets, or?
That is my understanding, yes.
Based on assets.
Right,
Yeah,
okay.
assets.
So how did they make a mistake? They're a bank, so no.
I know. If you read the agreement, because I will be the first one to tell you, this is a lot of legal language, and I did not get to get in on a conference call that was held several weeks ago on this. I was talking to Greg earlier, and he said, we just have to pay it. It's not a mistake that the town made. It's something that, was discovered through an audit process for the Bank of America, and I think they requested that audit. So, the refund credit offer, which is option number 3, is the one that we are recommending that the town consider. That's a payment that would begin, or actually, what would happen is the amount of bank franchise tax that they would be obligated to pay, the amount that they're refunded would be deducted from that payment over a 5-year period, and that would not begin until June of 2016. That's when we would realize that. It comes to roughly $6,651 per year. Our taxes, what they've paid us, have been in excess of that amount, so I don't think that's going to be a problem. That amount will be deducted from what would be normally sent to the town for the for the 5 years starting in 2016.
Now, as I understand it, Bank of America has been sold?
No, I think they have recently sold several branches.
Branches.
Yeah, several branches along the I-81 corridor is what I understand from the lady at the local branch that's still open here in town.
So would they continue, if they have actually sold their location here in the town of Abingdon, will they continue to owe us bank franchises, or will
That
they do
is an
somebody
excellent
else?
question, and I actually posed that to Greg today, and we were not sure, so that's something that we're going to have to, and this refund payment agreement is not due until the 1st of December, but we wanted to go ahead and bring it to council, but that is a question that we just thought of actually today, and if you would want to delay action on that, you're certainly welcome to do that until we can answer that question.
Oh, I can delay with the best of them.
Okay.
I must admit, it raises questions in my mind about, if they're closing up shop here. I mean, presumably, as I understand it, their locations here have been purchased by another institution?
Exactly. It's a bank out of Bluefield, has the name Bluefield in it. I think it's First Community Bank of Bluefield or something like that. I can't remember what the name actually is. But Bank of America will no longer have a presence by the end of this month on Main Street in Abingdon. That will no longer exist in the name of Bank of America.
Well, and how long have they been here? Close to 40 years?
They've been other things, I
Well,
think, through
been
the
other-
years, haven't they? Yeah, they started out several
Farmers
different
Mutual.
names.
Yeah, I think they've been Bank of America for a good long time,
Yeah.
yeah.
Started out First National Bank, didn't it?
Yeah.
I think
In
so,
Abingdon.
yeah.
Mm.
Okay,
But
so
if you would like to postpone your decision on this, we can certainly gather some more information on that as well.
if folks would be in agreement, I would propose that we wait until November and see if we can get some answers to a couple of those questions.
I would do, Mr. Mayor, because I'd like to know exactly who did the account. I haven't looked at this, I think it's obvious, but whether this audit was done by the IRS, and this is something that they've refiled their taxes, because that would be an amendment, would it have? Would it should have been an amendment on something on their tax thing too?
The way I read it, and I just, I didn't read word for word, but the way I read it, they did, banks have to go through, and Bob can tell us this, the banks have to go through internal and external audits. Am I correct?
Yes.
And so they found this mistake through that. And then the way I read it, they actually did refile their tax returns.
They did. That's
Yes.
in the first part of the agreement. They actually refiled them on February 21st of 2013. They filed amended bank franchise tax returns for the tax years claiming a refund.
It may be something the federal bank examiners found.
Right.
We just need to find that out, see
I was
exactly what it
just
is.
if the amendments were accepted by the IRS, so they have a choice of not accepting.
And I'm not sure about how the franchise taxes go, but I do believe that franchise taxes collections are based on estimates of balances, and so
It makes sense, I think.
and so there, it could be that their estimates were wrong or off.
There's usually a period for reconciliation.
Right.
Ms. Kingsley.
But would that also have included hits that they were taking for foreclosures on houses and then uncollected debts from them? And they use that as a write-off and then turn around and then use this as a
I do not know.
So, I mean, those are just kind of little questions that would pop into my head on this, and, but
Well, I look at item number 3, which is certainly the one on the surface that makes, sense as having the least pain to us. But if they're not going to pay us any more franchise, taxes and so forth, and there's nothing more here, then,
Well, the other bank will be. I mean, they'll.
yeah, but that,
Be a while to build up.
but the mechanics, I presume, would be we'd have to get it from one bank and then pay it back. I don't know. Well, I believe we certainly need to have a little more information here before we can act.
I think Greg plans to reach out to some of his colleagues at VLGMA to see the other localities. There's so many that are impacted, to find out how they also are answering these questions and dealing with this particular issue.
Okay,
It's
so
a really large hit. If you look at the schedule that they have listed by locality
All
in
the-
here,
yeah, all the
there are
localities.
some that owe, that are $2 million, in excess of $2 million.
I think there's something afoot.
Yeah, it really is something that, maybe somebody like the Virginia Municipal League ought to examine.
Maybe so.
I'm troubled by this and just really wonder about the math and the mechanics of how they arrived at this. And clearly, we need to know a little bit more before we act on it.
Okay.
Okay, I thank you for bringing that to our attention, and I know it'll be back waiting for us in November. We have no resolutions that we need tonight, and that brings us to matters that are not on the agenda. Is there anyone here present tonight who wishes to bring an item to the council for our consideration that's not on the agenda at the present time? Yes, ma'am. Ms. Schaefer, come forward, please.
Good evening, Mayor and councils. Thank you for giving me this moment. Just yesterday, I sent you an updated resolution that the towns of Glade Spring and Damascus had filed in support of the Planning Commission's vote on the gas drilling issue. And if anybody has any questions, I'll be happy to answer them there. But I just wanted to review that in, briefly to say that on September 9th, the Board of Supervisors dismissed, well, actually earlier than that, on August 25th, the board dismissed 2 years of research and defaulted for oversight for the controversial drilling technique into Washington County to the DMME. And DMME is presently reviewing their own guidelines and outdated. They found them inadequate and outdated, and so so the towns nearby were never consulted, I don't think, by the Board of Supervisors for your input on what might happen.
I can assure you we have not been consulted.
And I thought that was sort of strange. They never considered consulting members of the towns and the county regarding this very important issue, and especially since they expanded it countywide in July. And the concerns from the citizens were very major, with agriculture and tourism being the number one things: road damage, noise, light and air pollution, land, water, and health. And these are all in the Planning Commission's ordinance to help alleviate these problems. It didn't try to stop the drilling, it was just trying to alleviate the problems, and they just threw it out. And so I just wanted you to review the resolution, and you could join Bath County, Botetourt County, Rockbridge, Shenandoah, Stanton, Lynchburg, and Damascus and Glade Spring. These are regions in Virginia that have put resolutions forth to either stop or limit drilling, and 250 U.S. communities, states like New York and Vermont, countries like Britain, Bulgaria, France, and Germany. And it's just an exciting time, and I think it's a good time for you to just get your thoughts across as to how you feel, what would drilling do to Abingdon and the surrounding areas. It will affect everybody here, and just everybody's concerned, and I appreciate your looking at the resolution and doing what you can.
Very good. Thank you. And I've got a couple of comments. I think this is an issue that we've, as a council, have looked at, from time to time. I will note, as you pointed out, that we have not been, the Washington County Board of Supervisors have not sought our input or comment about this issue. We do have some questions that I think, we're concerned about and require some clarification. Earlier today, I spoke with Ms. Eisenhower, our town attorney, and asked her, first of all, and I think you're going to have to continue to do a little bit more research to clarify this, but one of the questions we had was given our current zoning ordinances that we have and so forth and activities that are permitted in those particular zones, is drilling for natural gas and fracking and so forth something that is permitted or not permitted, under the ordinances that we have at the present time? In other words, one of the questions that we would like to have resolved as part of the process where we examine this is, what our current ordinances permit or, prohibit. Mm-hmm. And I think that's something that we can probably have an answer on by our November meeting. Also, we attended, several of us this past week, a meeting of the Virginia Municipal League. And the Virginia Municipal
Organization.
Yes, the Virginia Municipal League has taken a issue or looked at this issue and has expressed a series of concerns about fracking and so forth, and they have prepared a resolution. I think if I could have one of those, please. Well, what I have here is a copy of a policy statement that was adopted yesterday, actually, by the Virginia Municipal League, and I will read just a portion of it. The position of the league was that hydraulic fracturing raises concerns about the potential pollution of groundwater, the depletion of water supplies, and an increase in seismic activity in previously benign or inactive zones. Consequences potentially are costly, irreversible, and devastating to local communities. VML, the Virginia Municipal League, supports a state regulatory program that addresses these concerns while protecting the authority of local governments to regulate this type of mining activity through its land use ordinances. And again, this particular statement was adopted by the league. It's my understanding that there will be a ordinance on the question of fracking that will be introduced in the January legislature. I believe as a council we'd like to have the opportunity to study this issue a little bit and see directly how it may or may not affect us, whether, again, our ordinances are adequate to cover it at the present time, and perhaps look at our own resolution in light of the actions that have been taken by the Virginia Municipal League. So if you'll bear with us a little bit.
I certainly will. I appreciate you looking into the matter. It certainly will affect us all.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate the work that you've done. I know you've been very heavily involved over the years in a variety of issues around the county, and we appreciate that very much, and also appreciate your husband's artwork. And
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are there others that wish to bring an item before the council tonight? I don't see anybody. Under those circumstances, I'll ask our council members if they have any issues that they or items that they wish to report to the council at the present time. Mr. Humphreys, how about you?
I do not have any, except for yesterday was the 234th anniversary of the Battle of Kings Mountain. The people who left here from Abingdon on September the 24th arrived there yesterday and gave homage to all the men and people who participated in the Battle of Kings Mountain. The one who Thomas Jefferson said was the turning of the tide of the Revolutionary War, and I'm one that could not have argued with Thomas Jefferson. I assume he's right, or default to him being right.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, and thank all those the men and women from Abingdon that went. There was a nice contingency going, not as large as sometimes that go. One of the reasons is, and I guess you all know, the committee president Blair Keller, or I guess I should say our beloved Blair Keller, suffered a stroke and is now fairly much blind. He can see, he can make out shadows, and of course voices, and so we our hearts and prayers go with him, to him too.
Well,
That's it.
I'm terribly sorry to hear that. He is a beloved person who has done more than perhaps anyone in this part of the world to recognize the contributions that of the Over Mountain men and women in terms of their contribution to the Revolutionary War effort, and very sorry to hear of his health issues. Yes, sir, you surely may.
And I guess I should say that we concluded with a very successful on September the 24th activity. We had close to 1,500 school children that took part down at the muster grounds. Highly successful event. Thanks for the town and everyone that puts money in the National Park Service, Washington County Board of Supervisors, Washington County School Board, that put, and DARSAR, I guess I could go on, I need to stop there, but that put forth money, time, effort, and volunteerism to make all that happen for these 1,500 school children. It's a very wonderful event. Thank you all.
Okay, Vice Mayor Lowe.
Mr. Mayor, we passed up appointments to boards and committees, so do you want to continue with council member reports and then go to board
We do, and I
appointments?
think there's another item that, it's not on the agenda that beginning to slip a little bit in my mind here.
Okay.
But why don't we do our reports, and then we'll come back to those items.
Okay, I have been very busy the month of September. I've attended 2 VML meetings, legislative committee meetings, and I think you and Mr. Howard were involved in the finalization of the process of the things they're going to send to the General Assembly. I actually, the paper that I passed over to you, I'm going to ask the clerk to copy and give everybody a copy of. We also attended together the VML session and had some great workshops, and I think created some great partnerships. Ken Heath is interested in starting a regional economic development group, and I will be meeting with him soon about that. And I am attending the town. I don't think we have told anybody yet. Oh, we're not supposed to. We won an award, and I'm going to attend that meeting.
I guess we weren't supposed to say yet. Was it the deal until we give it out?
Until it's given out, that's right.
But it's good.
It's a good award.
We're proud of it. Proud of our people.
Okay, that's all I'm going to talk about.
I heard the cat halfway out of the bag right there.
The film won't be at 11, but it will be next week. And you'll be the first to know.
That's right.
Anything else, ma'am?
That's all.
Mr. Howard.
Just to echo what Kathy said about the VML conference, it was a good conference this year. I think I did learn a little bit while we were up there. One other item, I do appreciate the council's support on the new fire truck. I think it's going to be well used. Excuse me.
Was that your spouse on unit, Bob?
Yeah. All right. Well,
So that we can hear.
Yeah, we can hear.
The speakers are all off.
Okay. Anyway, we appreciate the council's support on our part of the fire truck that we do need to be replaced, and do appreciate that.
well, we appreciate the efforts of our volunteer firemen and women who, and the contributions they make to the safety of our community. I will mention that one of the workshops that that we attended related to rail safety. There was a lengthy discussion about what had happened in Lynchburg and
that specific event. And we do have a railroad that runs right down through the middle of our town, and it's about 150 feet from the back of my house. And we do have concerns about rail safety in our community. My impression is that Norfolk and Western tries very hard to maintain their rails, particularly through municipal areas. But in terms of preparing for that, it's probably something that we need to be looking at here closely over the fairly near future when things like that might happen again. Anything else, sir?
No, in regards to that, I'll be contacting the railroad, talk with Chief McCormick about that, maybe do some training along that line. They do offer some training.
Very good, sir. We'll look forward to that happening. Ms. Derrick?
I have no cats to let out of the bag.
Thank you very much. I'm appreciative of that. And I don't think I have too much that I need to add to this, although I will note that I have had a series of discussions, and despite what you might have heard, the project to create a medical school in southwestern Virginia is alive and is surprisingly well. And moving forward, and I'm optimistic that we're well on our way to a good outcome. The project is in the process of being further defined, and a series of partners are coming on board that I think will help to enable us to make an important contribution to building a healthy and prosperous southwestern Virginia. We have a report from this commission that is, or from this organization, that is due to be presented to the Virginia Tobacco Indemnification Commission. Must be delivered at the end of November. We're trying to make this report reflective of the new partnerships and the roles that various parties will be playing, and to give the appropriate background information. We've had a consultation with a consultant on this matter, Eva Klein and Associates, who has met with representatives of the council with Emory and Henry and others, and it's recommended that our town contract with Ms. Klein or negotiate with Ms. Klein and Associates to see about preparing the report that I'm describing, and perhaps authorize, again, our town manager to enter into negotiations and possibly enter into a contract. It's estimated that the fee for the project that she would be undertaking would run $31,000. Based on the meetings I've had with her, with others, the discussions I've had with various parties, I think it would be appropriate for us to make this based on how the project is developing. And certainly if we did it, we would want to take these funds from the contribution that we've already committed to, rather than something that we would be adding on to that. Ms. Eisenhower, do you have any comments about this, or is there anything that I'm missing here?
No, I believe you have the gist of what we used to ask.
Okay. Again, Council, I would ask for your consideration of this request that we authorize our town manager to negotiate and enter into, if appropriate, a contract with Eva Klein and Associates to produce the document that I've described for the amount that I've listed. What is your thoughts about this?
Mr. Mayor, I move that we refer the medical school request for a comprehensive report to the town manager for him to examine and implement any legal procurement process, and to authorize him to enter into a contract with Eva Klein once he is satisfied that she has the ability to complete the report within the scope and the timetable required to submit to the Tobacco Commission's meeting.
Is there a second to that matter?
Second.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion or questions regarding this?
I think council would want to...
It's going to second. I've got another motion.
Okay, now what about...
The other motion is that in the event that the town manager deems the report to be commissioned, you can just put it in this whole motion. In the event the town manager deems the report to be commissioned, the cost of the report will be deducted from the money the town of Abingdon has committed to the project.
Okay.
And does your second cover that as well?
Yes.
Any further discussion on this or questions?
Yes, I would want council to specify from where the initial funding would come from.
It would be my recommendation that it come from our reserves at the present time. Okay, is that agreeable? Yes. Okay. All right, if you'll call the roll, please.
Mrs. During? Aye. Mr. Howard?
Aye.
Mr. Humphries?
Aye.
Mrs. Lowe?
Aye.
Mayor Morgan?
Aye. And council, I believe we'll have a more comprehensive and detailed report on the status of this project at our November meeting. Okay?
And we might add, Mr. Mayor, that the quote that you gave the group would include one additional person.
Yes.
Dr. Lloyd Jacobs.
All right.
So
Very good.
count his fees as well.
All right. Thank you. Now, we have several appointments to boards and committees. We have the Historic Preservation Review Board that was formerly referred to as the Board of Architectural Review. Mr. Byron Giesler has completed his terms and is not eligible for reappointment. Also, the Tree Commission, an appointment to fill the expired term of Monty Vernon, God forgive me. And I hope Monty will too.
Police Chief Phillips, please get him out of here.
I'm sorry, folks. It's just been a little much.
I've heard of a Freudian slip. That was a Freudian fall.
The fall on your sword is about the size of it. Again, we have an appointment to fill the expired term of Mr. Monty Vernon, who is not eligible to serve again. Also on the Sinking Spring Cemetery commitment, we have eligible for reappointment Mr. James Hagee, who is eligible to serve a second term. And then the Sustain Abingdon Committee, appointment of one member from the town staff to fill the expired terms of Tennille Montgomery, who is not eligible to serve again, and the appointment of one member to fill the expired term of Tom McMullen, who is currently a resident filling that slot, who is not eligible to serve again. What's your pleasure regarding these appointments tonight, council? Do you wish to go into executive session, or can we deal with them here? Do you want to postpone them?
We can go ahead and take care of the James Hagee one now.
I bet we could.
I would move that we reappoint James Hagee on the Sing Spring Cemetery Committee.
Second.
Okay. We have a motion and a second to reappoint Mr. James Hagee, who is eligible to serve a second term on the Sinking Spring Cemetery Committee. Any further discussion? Hearing none, if you'll call the roll, please.
Mrs. During? Aye. Mr. Howard?
Aye.
Mr. Humphries?
Aye.
Mrs. Lowe?
Aye.
Mayor Morgan?
Aye, thank you. How about these other appointments?
Mr. Mayor, I move that we appoint Jeff Johnson to the Historic Preservation Review Board. I move that we appoint Kathleen Wild to the Tree Commission. I move that we appoint Dane Ratliff to the Sustain Abingdon Committee. And I have a question about the other one.
Yeah, have these people put applications in?
Yes.
They're all in your packet.
Okay.
Yeah. And I have one suggestion one addition I'd like to make for the Sustain Abingdon Committee. Marion Watts has become very active, our building inspector in that committee, and wishes to also serve, and there is an opening for another town staff person. Yes.
Very nice.
So if that would be, with the council would be okay with that.
And I move that we appoint Marion Watts to the Go Green or Sustain Abingdon Committee as the town staff person.
Town staff representative, yes.
Okay, now the Abingdon Tree Commission, that was Ms. Lyle?
Kathleen Wild.
Okay, do I know Ms. Wild?
She is an anesthesiologist. She lives on Court Street. Chris Bircher is her significant other. You might know Chris.
I know Chris and I know Kathleen too. She would be excellent.
Okay. All right. Council, what's your thoughts about these? Do we have any comments? Do we have any other nominations?
She's made the motion. I'll second that. That group that she has put forward.
All right. Well, I value. I'll have to admit several of these folks. I don't immediately know, but I value the judgment of both of you. And So we have a motion and a second to make these appointments to, as listed. Does anyone have any questions or comments about this? Okay, hearing none, we have, you have pretty well filled or given recommendations. I'd like you to repeat them one more time, please, just.
Jeff Johnson to the Historic Preservation Review Board.
All right,
Kathleen Wild to the Tree Commission.
all right,
Dane Ratliff and Marion Watts to the Sustain Abingdon Committee.
okay.
And I will tell you that Dane Ratliff, we are very lucky to have him. He worked at the, I'm not going to pronounce it right, The Hague.
That's right.
Yeah.
Before moving back to the area.
All right.
He was appointed for the Commission for Environmental Cooperation, a NAFTA created body that promotes environmental action and cooperation in Canada, Mexico, and the U.S.
Okay, sounds like an excellent addition to that position.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, ma'am.
May I ask if the opening for the Historical Preservation Review Board, did that go through the appropriate advertising? Okay, all right.
We only received one application for that board.
Thank you.
And if I recall,
Just wondered.
and if I recall, Mr. Johnson lives in the historic
Yes,
district?
he does.
Yes, okay.
He's
All right, any further discussion regarding these matters? Okay, hearing none, I'll ask our clerk to call the roll, please.
Mrs. Juring?
Aye.
Mr. Howard?
Aye.
Mr. Humphries?
Aye.
Mrs. Lowe?
Aye.
Mayor Morgan?
Aye. Okay, thank you very much. Is there any other items, council? Yes, ma'am.
I would like to thank Ms. Kingsley for pinch hitting for me tonight and taking some notes. She's been absolutely a trooper today because I've about driven her crazy, for heaven's sakes, trying to get ready for this meeting tonight.
Even
So,
what she said this
well, I just want to thank her for being such a good sport and being my right arm and Deb's left arm. So
Yeah.
there you go. Thank you.
You haven't driven her crazy. I certainly have.
Well, and again, I want to apologize to Mr. Vernon, wherever he is, and you don't have to tell him.
You know, and while we're...
Well, we never would. He'll never hear from us.
And while we all have warm and fuzzy, I do have to say that this is the first meeting that you have presided as Assistant Town Manager. I am impressed with your knowledge and your protocol, and thank you so much for filling in for Mr. Kelly.
Yeah, there you go.
And you clearly did your homework.
Yeah.
You know, which,
I told him, I said, you could give me a little bit more time to get after later,
all right.
Maybe not.
All right. Got a couple of announcements here that I'll note for the record. On October 3rd through the 12th was American Craft Week, and there are events going on at the Fields Penthouse in commemoration of that. Tent Jams at the Barter Theater coming up on the 10th, the Iguanas. This weekend, October 11th, the American Chestnut Foundation will be celebrating, I believe it's their 25th anniversary at their facility in Meadowview. I would encourage everyone here, if you have an opportunity, to take a walk through the Veterans Memorial Park that is on Cumming Street. I was so thrilled this year to see chestnuts growing in the town of Abingdon. The new American chestnut tree, we have 2 generations of those trees on our property, and there was a good heavy nut crop this year. And it's one of those things that there hasn't been anything like that happen in the town of Abingdon for a very long time, and it was a pleasure to see that. Those trees are big, too. Some of them are 30 feet tall and a foot in diameter at their base, and they're looking like big, real trees and like they have some staying power. And my compliments to the Chestnut Foundation for their work. Also on the 11th, there's another tent jam at the Barter Square, playing Libre. 13th of October, Columbus Day, our town offices will be closed. October the 31st is Halloween. What day of the week is that? Friday. Okay, and I'm sure our police folks will be out in force that night, but we hope everyone will have a safe and well-behaved evening. November the 1st, Folk Soul Revival and Annabelle's Curse at the Higher Education Center. Happy Trails 5K on the Creeper Trail also on November 1st. Anything we're leaving out here, guys? Thank you all for coming.
Opening of the
October 17th.
Excuse me, the opening of the Patacello Trail on the 17th. How could I forget?
And how about the one that's on the 20th?
That's the invitation.
That was an invitation only? Well,
No cats, no more cats.
Yeah.
y'all come on anyway. Y'all come on anyway. I'll cover you.
Thank you all for being here. We appreciate your support and the good things that you do in the community. Okay.